And sometimes, Tool added, two different paths joined to create a better way forward. At the academy, human and Dravenar students trained side by side beneath a banner that combined symbols from both worlds. The crisis had proven what both Tool and Han had suspected from the beginning, that their peoples were stronger together than apart. Their unexpected partnership had opened doors throughout the galaxy, creating possibilities neither species could have achieved alone. The end. There is resistance among my people, he explained. Traditional elements fear that allowing humans to adapt our sacred art dilutes its purity. What can we do? Han asked. We must demonstrate the value of what we've created, Tull replied. The High Council has requested a formal exhibition next month. This announcement created a new sense of urgency. The training intensified as both species worked to refine their hybrid techniques. Han and Tull spent long hours discussing which elements would best showcase the benefits of their collaboration. We should emphasize how Sinev preserves the core principles of Navtor, Han suggested. Show that we haven't replaced tradition, but built upon it. Tull agreed. And we must demonstrate how certain human innovations actually solve problems that have challenged our instructors for generations. As the exhibition approached, an unexpected visitor arrived. Master Dal, Tull's former teacher and one of the most respected warriors in Dravenar society. His presence made everyone nervous. Dal observed silently for 3 days before speaking. On the 4th day, he requested a private demonstration from Captain Han. Show me what you have learned, he said simply. Han performed a series of movements that blended traditional Navtor with human adaptations. When she finished, Dal's expression remained unreadable. Now fight, he commanded, taking a combat stance. The silver ship descended from the sky, hovering silently before touching down on the landing pad. Officials from Earth waited nervously as the door opened with a soft hiss. This was humanity's first cultural exchange with the Dravenar, a species known throughout the galaxy for their fighting skills. Master Tull stepped out, his tall gray body moving with perfect balance. He had 4 strong arms and skin that looked like polished stone. Behind him came 5 other Dravenar warriors, each moving with the same fluid grace. Welcome to Earth, said Director Kim, bowing slightly. We are honored by your visit. Tull's large eyes studied the humans carefully. The honor is shared. My people believe that knowledge grows when it is exchanged. Among the humans stood Captain Han, chosen to be the first student because of her background in combat training. She was shorter than the aliens but stood straight and confident. These are your fighters, Tull asked, looking at the 20 humans selected for the program. Our best, Director Kim confirmed. From military and civilian backgrounds. Tull approached Captain Han, towering over her. And you will be the primary student. Yes, she replied, meeting his gaze. I look forward to learning your ways. The art of Navtor is not easily mastered, Tull said. It has taken our people generations to perfect. I wonder if humans have the patience to truly understand it. Han nodded respectfully. We may surprise you. The training facility had been built according to Dravenar specifications, a large circular room with special lighting and slightly higher gravity than normal Earth conditions. The floor was covered with a material that felt both soft and firm. The next morning, training began. Master Tull demonstrated the first posture of Navtor, his 4 arms moving in perfect harmony. The humans tried to copy him, but their 2 armed bodies couldn't match the movements exactly. No, Tull said, stopping Captain Han. Your balance is wrong. Your energy does not flow correctly. Han tried again, but the alien form was designed for a different type of body. Tull shook his head. Perhaps this was a mistake, he said. Your bodies are not suited to our arts. Please, Han said, let us try a different approach. Show me the purpose behind the movement, not just the form itself. Tull considered this. The purpose is to redirect energy while maintaining your center. Like this. He demonstrated again, more slowly. Han watched carefully, then tried a modified version that accomplished the same goal but worked with human anatomy. Tull's expression changed. Interesting, he said. Different, but effective. Over the next few weeks, the humans struggled with the alien techniques. The Dravenar were naturally stronger and had extra limbs, making their fighting style difficult for humans to copy exactly. But Captain Han kept working, often staying late after formal sessions ended. One evening, Master Tull found her practicing alone. "You are dedicated," he observed. "I believe there is great wisdom in your methods," Han replied. "But I need to find ways to make them work for human bodies." Tull watched as she demonstrated a modified version of a defensive technique. "You have changed it," he said, his tone neutral. "Yes," Han admitted. "I cannot match your exact movements, but I think I preserved the core principle." To her surprise, Tull nodded slowly. "Show me again." Han demonstrated, explaining her adaptations. Tull moved alongside her, comparing the original technique with her version. "Your mind works differently than ours," he finally said. "You see connections we do not." The next day, Tull gathered all the human students. "We must change our approach," he announced. "You will learn our principles, but we will work together to adapt the forms to your bodies." This was unprecedented. The Dravenar had never modified their ancient art for another species. Some of the alien instructors looked concerned, but they respected Tull's authority. "Captain Han has shown me that there is more than one path to understanding," Tull explained. "Perhaps we have as much to learn from you as you from us." Two of the younger Dravenar instructors, Ven and Mac, seemed particularly interested in this new approach. They began working closely with the humans, exploring different ways to achieve the same goals. By the end of the month, something new was emerging in the training hall. Not purely Dravenar techniques, but not quite human either. It was something unique, born from the meeting of two different worlds. "I did not expect this outcome," Tull told Han privately, "but I believe it may be valuable for both our peoples." Han smiled. "This is just the beginning," she said. "Wait until you see what happens next." 3 months into training, the differences between humans and Dravenar became increasingly apparent. The alien warriors moved with incredible speed, their 4 arms giving them advantages in both attack and defense. Most human students struggled to keep up. Again, Master Tull instructed as Captain Han picked herself up from the floor. This was her 5th fall in the past hour. "Your timing is still off." Han brushed dust from her training uniform. Her muscles ached, but her eyes remained determined. "The movement is difficult for our joint structure," she explained. Tull considered this. Perhaps, but the principles must remain intact. After the formal session ended, Han stayed behind as usual. She set up recording devices to capture her movements from multiple angles. Then she began experimenting with variations of the Dravenar techniques. When Instructor Ven entered the training hall later that evening, he found Han reviewing the footage on a large screen. "You train more than the others," he observed. "Remember your training," she called to her fellow students. "Adapt." The human students began to move, using modified techniques designed to work with minimal movement. They didn't fight against the gravity but used it, keeping low to the ground and maintaining their balance. Master Tull was impressed but concerned. "The controls are locked. If they increase gravity further, even our people will be in danger." "We need to reach the control room," Han said, her voice strained. "Do you know another way in?" Tull nodded. "There's a maintenance shaft, but in this gravity." "We'll manage," Han assured him. She gathered 4 students who had shown the most progress. Together with Tull, they made their way to a hidden access panel, while the other students protected the visitors. The shaft was narrow and vertical, difficult in normal conditions, nearly impossible in doubled gravity. But the humans applied their training, using minimal movements and perfect balance to ascend. When they reached the control room level, they could hear Rez and his followers inside. "We need a distraction," Han whispered. One student pulled a small device from his pocket. "Training remote. It mimics movement signatures." He programmed it quickly and sent it down the corridor. When the device activated, one of Rez's followers went to investigate. The moment the door opened, the humans moved. Despite the crushing gravity, they flowed into the room like water finding its path. What followed was Synav in its purest form, humans moving with Dravenar precision, but adding their own innovation. They couldn't match the aliens' strength, especially in high gravity, but they didn't need to. They redirected, they used leverage, they created openings where none seemed to exist. Rez was shocked. Impossible. He growled as Han evaded his powerful strikes. No human should function in this gravity. You taught us too well, Han replied, using his own momentum against him. Working together, the humans subdued the traditionalists with minimal harm. Tull reset the environmental controls, and the exhibition hall returned to normal conditions. When security finally arrived, they found the situation already resolved. The human students had protected both species' dignitaries, while demonstrating exactly what the program had been designed to prove, that humans could adapt alien techniques in ways that even the original masters hadn't imagined. The aftermath transformed both societies. The incident was broadcast throughout the galaxy. Footage of humans moving effectively and crushing gravity challenged existing perceptions of human capabilities. 1 month later, the Dravenar High Council made their decision. Not only would the exchange program continue, but it would expand. Master Tull was promoted to oversee a new academy, where both species would train together. The traditionalists feared our art would be diminished by sharing, Tull explained during the opening ceremony. Instead, it has been strengthened. On Earth, interest in Synav exploded. Training centers opened in major cities, with both human and Dravenar instructors. What began as 20 students had become a global movement. 6 months after the incident, Captain Han stood before the Galactic Council. Representatives from 12 spacefaring species listened as she described the lessons learned. We came to this exchange believing we were simply learning techniques, she explained. But we discovered something more valuable. A method for true cultural synthesis that honors both traditions while creating something new. And what of the security implications? Asked one council member. You've armed humans with advanced combat knowledge. We've done something far more important, Han replied. We've shown that different species can create together rather than simply compete. This philosophy spread beyond martial arts. The human approach to adaptation began influencing fields from medicine to architecture. Other species started seeking exchanges with humans, recognizing their unique ability to absorb and transform knowledge. Master Tull and Captain Han often discussed how differently things had turned out from their expectations. When I arrived on Earth, Tull said, I thought I was preserving our tradition by passing it to new students. I never imagined they would help us advance it. Han smiled. Sometimes, the student becomes the teacher. Han nodded. I'm trying to understand why certain movements work for your bodies, but not for ours. Then watched as she played back footage comparing Dravenar movements with human attempts. Your species has remarkable persistence. We have to, Han replied. We don't have your natural advantages. The next morning, during partner exercises, something unexpected happened. Han was paired with Instructor Mac for a defensive drill. When Mac launched his attack, a complex four-armed strike, Han responded with a movement that wasn't part of the traditional Navtor training. Instead of attempting to block all 4 strikes as taught, she shifted her weight in a way that required minimal movement but caused Mac to overextend. In that brief moment of imbalance, she stepped inside his guard and neutralized the attack. The training hall fell silent. Master Tull approached slowly. What was that? He asked, his voice neither approving nor condemning. Han straightened. An adaptation based on Navtor principles, but designed for human physiology. Show me again, Tull commanded. Han demonstrated the modification, explaining her reasoning. Our bodies can't move the same way yours do, but we can achieve similar results through different means. Tull's expression was unreadable. Interesting. Your solution prioritizes efficiency over power. That afternoon, Master Tull called the instructors together for a private meeting. The humans could see them engaged in what appeared to be a heated discussion. When they returned, Tull made an announcement. Beginning tomorrow, we will alter our approach. Humans will learn traditional forms but are encouraged to develop adaptive techniques. Instructors will work with students individually to explore these variations. This was unprecedented. Some Dravenar looked uncomfortable with this break from tradition, but no one challenged Tull's authority. Over the next few weeks, something remarkable began to emerge. As humans modified the techniques to suit their bodies, they discovered unique advantages. Their smaller size and different joint structure allowed for movements that were impossible for the larger aliens. During one training session, Han demonstrated a counter technique that utilized the human spine's greater flexibility. Master Tull watched with growing interest. "How did you develop this?" he asked. "I studied the principle behind the original move," Han explained. "Then I considered what human anatomy could do that Dravenar anatomy cannot." Tull nodded slowly. "You humans have a gift for. What do you call it?" "Improvisation," Han suggested. "Yes, improvisation. We Dravenar respect tradition. Each movement has been refined over centuries. But your approach has merit." As training progressed, the humans began to show unexpected progress. Their adaptations allowed them to compensate for their lack of strength and extra limbs. What's more, the human nervous system seemed particularly adept at learning movement patterns. "Your species processes kinesthetic information differently than ours," Instructor Van explained after conducting tests with neural monitoring equipment. "You form new neural pathways more quickly." This discovery fascinated the Dravenar scientists. They began studying the humans more closely, documenting how they adapted and learned. During the 6th month of training, visitors arrived from the Dravenar homeworld. General Som, head of their warrior academy, came to observe the experimental program. He watched with narrow eyes as humans demonstrated their modified techniques. "This is not Navtor," he stated flatly to Master Tull. "It preserves the essence while adapting the form," Tull replied. "Watch closely." Han and 3 other students performed a synchronized demonstration against Dravenar opponents. Though physically outmatched, their modified techniques allowed them to hold their own. When the demonstration ended, General Som remained silent for a long moment. "In all my years," he finally said, "I never imagined our sacred art could be performed by another species. Yet these humans have found their own path to the same principles." Master Tull nodded. "They do not merely imitate, they understand. And in understanding, they transform." That evening, after the general departed, Han found Master Tull meditating in the training hall. "Your visit from the general went well?" she asked. "There is resistance among my people," he explained. "Traditional elements fear that allowing humans to adapt our sacred art dilutes its purity." "What can we do?" Han asked. "We must demonstrate the value of what we've created," Tull replied. "The High Council has requested a formal exhibition next month." This announcement created a new sense of urgency. The training intensified as both species worked to refine their hybrid techniques. Han and Tull spent long hours discussing which elements would best showcase the benefits of their collaboration. "We should emphasize how Sinev preserves the core principles of Navtor," Han suggested. "Show that we haven't replaced tradition, but built upon it." Tull agreed, "And we must demonstrate how certain human innovations actually solve problems that have challenged our instructors for generations." As the exhibition approached, an unexpected visitor arrived. Master Dal, Tull's former teacher, and one of the most respected warriors in Dravenar society. His presence made everyone nervous. Dal observed silently for 3 days before speaking. On the 4th day, he requested a private demonstration from Captain Han. "Show me what you have learned," he said simply. Han performed a series of movements that blended traditional Navtor with human adaptations. When she finished, Dal's expression remained unreadable. "Now fight," he commanded, taking a combat stance. Han hesitated only briefly before engaging. Master Doll was legendary for his skill, and despite his advanced age, his forearms moved with blinding speed. Han found herself defending desperately against his attacks. Then something clicked. She stopped trying to match his movements, and instead flowed around them, using the principles of Sinov. Where Navtor would meet force with redirected force, she created empty space where attacks should land. The exchange lasted nearly 5 minutes, an eternity in combat terms. Finally, Dal stepped back and bowed slightly. "Interesting," he said, the first hint of approval in his voice. "Your style lacks power, but possesses something else, a certain adaptability." "That's the human advantage," Han explained. "We cannot match your strength or speed, so we find different paths to the same goal." The next day, Master Dal joined the instructors. His presence lent legitimacy to the program that silenced many critics. When Kurt returned with more concerns from the council, Dal met with him privately. No one knew what was said, but Kurt left looking thoughtful rather than angry. As the exhibition date approached, humans and Dravenar worked side by side to perfect their demonstration. What had begun as separated groups had become a unified team. The night before the exhibition, Master Tull found Han practicing alone in the training hall. "You should rest," he advised. "Tomorrow is important." Han completed her movement sequence before responding. "I was thinking about how far we've come. 6 months ago, we could barely communicate about basic techniques. Now we're creating something neither of our species could have developed alone." Tull nodded. "That is the true power of exchange. Not merely learning from each other, but creating together." "Do you think the council will see it that way?" Han asked. "Some will," Tull replied. "Others will need more convincing. But what we have built here cannot be unmade. The knowledge now exists in both our cultures." As they left the training hall, both felt the weight of the coming day, and the potential for something revolutionary to emerge from their unlikely partnership. The exhibition hall was filled with important visitors from both worlds. Human officials sat alongside Dravenar dignitaries. Master Tull and Captain Han stood together at the center, ready to demonstrate what their students had accomplished. "Today we show the union of two traditions," Tull announced. The demonstration began smoothly, with paired teams showing how Navtor principles could be adapted for human physiology. In the control room above, no one noticed when 3 Dravenar entered silently. They were followers of Rez, a traditionalist who opposed sharing their sacred arts with outsiders. They quickly overwhelmed the staff and took control of the environmental systems. Suddenly, the gravity in the exhibition hall increased dramatically. The air pressure rose, making it difficult for humans to breathe. Most fell to their knees, struggling against the crushing weight. "This abomination ends today," Rez's voice boomed through the speakers. "Navtor belongs to the Dravenar alone." The Dravenar spectators were uncomfortable but could withstand the conditions. The human audience members were in distress. Security teams couldn't reach the control room due to sealed doors. Captain Han forced herself to stand despite the heavy gravity.